Welcome to Moneywise. On this edition of Moneywise, you'll learn how to get a mortgage. Welcome to this special edition of Moneywise. Today we're going to be talking about how to get a mortgage. And we're so pleased, we're very happy to have one of the leading ladies in the mortgage industry today, Miss Lois Johnson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are a trailblazer. You're a real, spirit of success example. You just done it all, and I want you to just tell me, how did you get started?
Well, basically, as far as the mortgage business, I got started in real estate first. I was a real estate agent, super producer. I sold lots of homes, but then getting the people into the home was a challenge because I pre-qualify them, get them to the mortgage company, then they would get turned down. So I wasn't so happy about that, super producer, but yet can't close them. So what I did, I investigated the mortgage industry a little bit, and I just thought I'd start doing something about it.
Now, Lois, people are going to hear you. They're going to say, she's such a sweet, mild-mannered, wonderful lady, soft-spoken, and she's a leader in the mortgage industry. Tell me, has it been, some people think it's hard to be nice and be successful in business. What do you think?
You can be nice, but you must be persistent. It's been a challenge in the business, but I'm very persistent, mild-mannered, but attempt to get what I want.
you get focused.
Right.
Now, we're going to talk about your company, but I just want to talk a little bit about you, because I think you're a very special person, okay?
Okay.
It seems like your faith is very important to you. How does that play as relates to your work?
My faith is important to me. I'm a strong believer. I believe that all things are possible through God. And I support those values because as far as I'm concerned, without God, you're nothing. And I try to live my life to let my light shine for the things that I believe in that are godly. And I support my church, my belief. And then I'm not against anybody else's beliefs, but I do support my belief. I'm Pentecostal.
Now, we lost so many African-American banks and mortgage companies during the recession. How did you survive the recession?
Oh, through the help of God.
Back to God.
Back to God. Well, I have been in the business. I had been in the business right around 20 years prior to the meltdown. I started out as a broker, and then I graduated to a correspondent. That's a little step higher. And then right before the crash, then I was blessed to become a Ginnie Mae issuer. I was already Fannie Mae, but Ginnie Mae is a step above that. And basically what that meant was I had my own portfolio. I made decisions according to the guidelines. And then I didn't have to broker my loans to another Ginnie Mae issuer. And at that time it was, FHA, VA, conventional, and then there were other mortgages available also, but I had to broker that to other lenders. Once I became Ginnie Mae and Fannie Mae, I had my own portfolio, so I no longer had to broker anything. I could put them into my own portfolio. So when the meltdown came, a lot of the big lenders cut the brokers and the correspondents off. So therefore, a lot of them went out of business because, if they can't go to the lender, they can't stay in business. So At that time, right before that meltdown, I became a lender. I didn't have to go to them.
Wow.
Went to my own portfolio, and that was such a blessing. And believe it or not, we didn't have a hard time during that period of time because we didn't have a lot of competition from other brokers or correspondents who had been dismissed by the big lenders.
You talking about a blessing.
What a blessing.
And you're able to weather the storm that way and help people still buy homes and keep their homes during a recession. That's
Right.
great. That's great.
Right.
Give me some advice for women business owners.
Stand your grounds.
Stand your ground.
Do what you do best.
So you really feel that people should own a home. You're very passionate about home ownership.
I think people should own a home because of the fact they're acquiring equity into their home, meaning money. You can build up money by paying your payments or increase in value. So it helps you to get onto something else. You know, you can take equity out of your house to pay for what you need. Or maybe even sell that home and graduate to a larger home.
Your point is well taken, especially right now when so many young people want to just rent. They think it's easier to rent, and all across the country we see people just building places for people to rent. But they're missing out on the opportunity, as you say. You can rent for 20, 30, 40 years, but as you said, in the end, you'll just have rent receipts.
Absolutely.
And you won't have any equity or any wealth.
Absolutely.
What do you want people to take away? If this is the first time anyone ever seen Lois Johnson, what do you want them to know about you?
I want them to know that we are here to help United Security. Give people the opportunity to get into a home and build wealth for themselves. And give them the opportunity to have future investments from the home. Take a piece of the rock like a lot of other people are doing.
We're going to come back with some people from your team, so don't go away.
Okay.
We'll be right back with more of this special edition of Moneywise. As a home buyer, you need a lender who cares about your home ownership dreams. United Security Financial has been helping families secure their dream homes for 30 years. We're a national fair practice lender that provides affordable mortgages and low down payment programs to eligible home buyers. To learn how United Security Financial can help you secure your dream home, call 1-800-373-4186.
People in the nation believe that fair housing would in our time become the unchallenged law of this land.
Welcome back to this special edition of Moneywise. We're talking about how to get a mortgage. And now we're joined by not only Lois Johnson, but also Michael Grant. He is the regional president of United Security Financial. And as you know, Ms. Lois Johnson is the president and CEO. Tell me about United Security Financial. What's so exciting?
It's really important to know that United Security is a full-service mortgage company. We originate the loan, meaning we take the application, process it, approve it, and then we service it until the loan is retired. We don't have to go out to another institution to sell it to somebody. We make those decisions. And we've also have been certified as a fair practice lender.
What does that mean?
That means that anytime, it has nothing to do with race. It means that anytime you go apply for a loan and get turned down and you feel that you've been mistreated, you should have been approved, then you can come to, there's 5 of us in the state of Utah. So you can call any one of those 5 and we can review it. If we feel that you're correct, we will reverse that decision and give you that loan. So we are fair lender to everybody.
Mike, why should I be excited about United Security.
It's America at its very best because the different races are there working together and everybody's working for the same purpose.
Are there any special mortgages right now that people should be aware of?
Your typical mortgages are FHA, which is Ginnie Mae, VA loans, and then Fannie Mae. Those are the most typical loans that people will get. They also have programs for FHA loans for down payment assistance. Fannie Mae will allow you to use a down payment assistant loan as well. So basically, those are the programs that most generally people will use.
And you have all those mortgages. You provide all those
We
mortgages.
provide all of those. We're full service. And then in addition to that, we are a lender, whereas, you know, if your FICO score is lower than 620, then we will advise you what you should know to get that score up. We don't hold anything back because some people come in and this is their first loan, they don't know. But I feel that it's our job to help them learn what to do so they can become a home loan.
Is 620 the number? The credit score?
620 is the score that's used in the industry. However, and most lenders don't go this low, but FHA will allow you to go in the fives, in the mid fives.
There's misinformation out there that you can't get a home unless you've got 20% for down payment. That's not true. That's just not a fact. You can get as low as 0 down payment, depending on the program. If it's a VA loan, you don't have to pay anything. We have also, FHA 3.5%, right? We have this program that also is kind of like a grant. I'm going to let Lois expound on it, but nobody should stay away from home ownership worried about down payment. We have that covered.
He's absolutely right. The word is out there that, just as Michael indicated, well, you have to have 20% down to get it into a home, which is absolutely untrue. Fannie Mae has a first-time home buyers program, whereas you only have to pay 3% down. And then more recently, after the meltdown, there are a lot of down payment assistance programs. And they usually go 3% down, 3.5% down. And there are grants out there. There are state financing out there as well. So basically, a home buyer can get in for no down payment. There are closing costs involved, and it's the buyer's responsibility, but then it's the realtor's responsibility to help get that closing cost as low as possible. So they can ask for the seller to pay part of the closing costs. In most cases, they can pay all of the closing costs, especially on a VA loan.
Okay.
But in the average amount is 6%. Fannie Mae, I think they allow the seller to pay 3%. So the buyers has an advantage as far as getting into the home. It depends on how the professionals educate the buyer to get into the home.
Many African Americans are still trying to get back into home ownership after the recession because we took the biggest hit when it comes to losing our homes. But many of them don't realize that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you haven't had a mortgage, and at least I know this was the case in Maryland, in 3 years, you can qualify as a first-time home buyer again.
You're absolutely correct.
Let's talk about some other tips.
Okay.
Michael, if I want to get a mortgage, give me something I should know.
Well, one thing you should know, Kelvin, and a lot of people don't, is don't be freaked out by the FICO score. We have to demystify that. A lot of people think, oh, my FICO score is so low if they found out what it was. I'll never be able to get in a house. That's not true. There are some little things that you could do. First of all, there are HUD certified counselors who could help you. And there's a company that we work with sometime called Home Free USA. That's all they do is prepare people to get ready to own a home. So there's a process of budgeting and all the rest of that. But the FICO score is not that big of a deal. You look at it and you find out what things can I get paid off that will automatically kick my score up. You know, there are letters that can be written to creditors and so forth that can say to the folks who do your credit, to Experian or whoever they are, look, this person has paid this off. You know, it's gone now. There are a lot of things that you can do, believe it or not, to raise that score within 6 months over 100 points. But you need to talk to the experts who are doing it every day and find out this is not as intimidating as you thought it was. At least try.
What tip would you give if I want to get a mortgage?
First of all, if you're unsure of your credit conditions, you can ask for a copy of your credit report. But the main thing I want to say is, once you go to a credit agency that get you all cleaned up, make sure that you get to a fair practice lender.
Yes.
Because they make sure you get in there.
Kelvin, one of the things that's discouraging a lot of the millennials is they've gone through college or grad school or med or dental school, and they've got all these student loans. They need to know that those loans can be consolidated, okay, and a lower monthly payment would cover them, and it would keep your score up. So don't be overwhelmed by it. Don't think, oh my God, until I get this paid off, I can never think about house. That's not true. Those loans can be consolidated and you can get a lower rate to pay monthly.
And there's some other advantages to owning a home that we didn't talk about, including the tax advantage.
Oh, Lord,
Right.
yes.
You know, even though in certain states it's been lower because of the new law, but they're still available. But we have to wrap this up, believe it or not. But I want each of you to share with our audience one of the most important things about getting a mortgage that you think they should understand.
They should understand that it will create wealth for them, give them more security, and they should also realize that eventually the equity that they're building up in their house will be a cash flow for them.
Kelvin, you know, with all of the challenges we're having in our country right now, America is still the land of opportunity. That's straight up truth. And I don't care what color you are, where you came from, because I came from the housing projects, so I know it's true. But home ownership gives you a certain pride. It helps your self-esteem. You know, you take more pride in the way your house looks. You care about the neighborhood. You care about the neighborhood children. You care about neighborhood safety. Home ownership, in every way I can think of, makes us better people because we take control of our lives, our self-esteem is elevated, and we throw off positive energy to other people. And isn't that the kind of community we all want to live in?
When should I think about buying my first home? If I'm single, can I buy a house?
Absolutely. Soon as you are making enough income to qualify for the home that you would like, and you should go to a mortgage company, get pre-qualified. They tell you what you can qualify for.
I'll just tell you this. If USF can't do it, it can't be done.
Okay.
We take a lot of pride in taking folks who think that they cannot qualify for a mortgage, and when we get through with them, they're moving in.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you,
Thank
Kelvin.
you.
We're going to continue our discussion on how to get a mortgage, but this time we're going to take a little different slant. We're going to talk about how do you become a real estate professional. Joining me, we're so happy to have Antoine Thompson. He's the National Executive Director of NAREP. Michael Grant, he is the Regional President of United Security Financial.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
I want to get right into this. Let's first talk about the disparity today in home ownership between African Americans and others.
I just want to start by saying that before the recession, we had gotten to 49% ownership. After that devastating recession, we ended up with 41%. Literally billions of dollars evaporated the wealth in our community. We lost so much. And so we're now in a struggle to get back to where we were.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done to reduce the gap in home ownership. NAREP was founded in 1947 during the height of Jim Crow and discrimination in America, particularly during World War II when African Americans coming home from the war that had served in World War II weren't able to take advantage of the GI Bill, a federal program for military professionals that they were not able to use that to buy a home. So we have been fighting the good fight for a long time, trying to bridge the gap. And right now in 2018, there is a 30% gap. 42% for African Americans, just over 70% home ownership rate for white Americans. And NARAB right now has a national campaign to create 2 million black homeowners, which is really, really important for us to do, because home ownership is the #1 way that we build wealth in the United States. We need to fight to protect the 30-year mortgage for African Americans and other people across the country. We need to make sure we preserve and protect the mortgage interest deduction. We need loan level pricing equity across the country. So regardless what zip code you live in, what neighborhoods you live in, that the pricing of those loans are equitable across the board, not just equal, but equitable.
Tell our audience about NARAB. How do you become a member? Okay, and why is it important to be a member?
Great question. So to be a member of NARAB, you do not have to be a real estate agent or a broker. You could be in mortgage, insurance, property management, real estate investing, an appraiser, or you can be an affiliate member. And you can join one of our local chapters. You can go to nareb.com and learn about our association and find out if there's a chapter in your area. If it's not a chapter in your area, you can actually become an at-large member. You do not have to be an African American or African American to become a member. You can be a member of any color. It's been that way since we were started as well.
Yeah, why is it important?
It's extremely important, one, in terms of advocacy. The challenges that African Americans face in trying to go into the industry, African Americans face in terms of trying to become homeowners. You need a voice. In the real estate industry, advocacy for home ownership, better lending practices, development policies, gentrification, a lot of those issues need a strong voice of an organization like NARAB. So it's really important to belong. And if you want to be successful in real estate, it's always good for networking, advocacy, access to development opportunities. NARAB could be extremely helpful.
If I wanted to sell mortgages, could I sell mortgages through your company? And how does that process work?
You could partner with us. There are a number of positions you could have if you want to work with our company. I mean, you could be obviously an institutional broker. You could become a loan officer, and we could hire you to be a loan officer for us. You could come to work for the company directly in some other capacity. There are a lot of ways to get into this industry, but the main thing is and I'm glad that Antoine pointed this out, we as a people have got to see how important this real estate thing is. If you're serious about a trajectory that leads you from basically either poverty or lower middle class to comfortable middle class and then upper class, almost always it's through real estate. Yeah. And so there are a lot of different professions that you can get in real estate. And if you're that interested, I want you to call us, because our company is interested to talk to you, whether you want to be a broker, a loan officer, or whatever you want to do, call us. I am really happy that we're having this show with you today, Kelvin, because far too many of us, especially the young, have settled for this idea. You know, they saw the devastation of their mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, and they thought, I'll just rent, I'll be safe. You're not safe. If you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, and you're losing money. Every day that you're renting, you're losing money. It's like an inverse investment, if you will. But once you get into the real estate business, first, you say to yourself, home ownership is a necessity. It's a necessity not only for building my own wealth, but we should start thinking more and more about intergenerational wealth. If you talk to whites and Jews and Asians and others who have gotten wealth built up in their communities, almost everything was done through inheritance, somebody passing something on. So real estate is the first way we can pass wealth on to the next generation. But secondly, we need to start thinking about, what role can I play? Real estate is important. If I'm going to buy a home and want to do nothing else, that's fine. If I own a home and want to take out some equity to start a business, that's fine. But think real estate if you're serious about wealth in this country.
Got it. And the other thing I want to talk to you both of you about, I know you're very passionate about, is the business side of it. Yes. If I believe right now that every family and especially every African American family needs to own a business.
Absolutely.
Talk about being self-employed and how that plays into what you're doing.
It's extremely, I can tell you from a personal experience, I was a state lawmaker, city lawmaker. I lost a close election in 2010, and it was a life-changing experience. And I said from that point on, regardless whatever job I have, that I will always have multiple streams of income. And so I say to individuals, I got my license 7 years ago this year. And even though I live in Maryland, I still have my license in New York State, and I still do real estate there in different parts of the country. So real estate is a doctor, it was a saying by many years ago that black people should have a sellable skill. And then there was another guy, Booker T. Washington, another guy that said you need to stimulate your mind, and W.B. Du Bois. So I believe in the marriage of the two.
Okay.
So real estate allows you to become an agent, right? You can do real estate investing. You can do property management. Each of them, and you can also become a broker. And you can do all that through the same company.
That's right.
And so I say to individuals that it requires some a little bit of study, not a lot, but a little bit of study. You can use your good network. You can grow it. And if you work hard, you can be extremely successful in real estate. Yes. And as Mike talked about, most of the people that are very wealthy are some way connected to some form of real estate.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, that's how I met you, because you are the pro on that subject, and I admired that you were driving that agenda for us as a people. If you look at other ethnic groups in America, they have accepted entrepreneurship as an important part of the community. And they support each other, you know? They create jobs for each other. Therefore, they create hope for each other. We did that. Before integration, you know, we were supporting each other in business. Maybe we didn't have the biggest Marriott, or we didn't have whatever, but we had hotels, we had hospitals, we had our schools, we had businesses, grocery stores, and so forth. We have got to get our people to start thinking entrepreneurship again. Somebody once said, I forgot who said it, they said, the business of America is business. Yeah. It's true. And so we can't always think about somebody else giving us a job. We have to think about, what can I do to create a job for myself? And then when I see people who look like me, I want to support their business.
What do you want people to take away from this conversation?
I want them to take away that your power is in your hands. I love the first segment because I agree with Lois. I go to God first. Go to God first. That is the answer. But our power on earth is in our hands. We can do anything we want to do, but we have to believe in ourselves.
I would say just a couple of things. One is that if you own the land, you can control what happens on the land.
That's right.
And so we need to promote home ownership, real estate ownership, and also encourage our people to go into the various careers of real estate. The mortgage industry has less than 10% of African Americans in that industry. The real estate has less than 15% of it being African Americans. There are a lot of great opportunities for African Americans in real estate.
Thank you both. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Thank you for watching. Until next time, remember to save $1 and a dream. As a home buyer, you need a lender who cares about your home ownership dreams. United Security Financial has been helping families secure their dream homes for 30 years. We're a national fair practice lender that provides affordable mortgages and low down payment programs to eligible home buyers. To learn how United Security Financial can help you secure your dream home, call 1-800-373-4186.